Good evening, good evening, good evening. I know it is late. It is late, it is late, it is late. But I was responding to emails. So I said, let's talk about a little business funding as I respond to emails and try to play catch up. So for May, I am going to do Money May. Money May is going to be everything you need to know for, getting capital for your business. So I'm going to do a free masterclass. It's going to break down your proper business structure. Hold on, y'all. Your proper business structure, how to win business grants, and how to get business funding that is solely in the business EIN. I know a lot of business funding we hear about, once you take the class, you take the course, you get the ebook, you realize it's talking about basically using your credit, using your credit or having the business piggyback on you. And, some people's credit right now they aren't credit worthy to get funding. Or you just may be like, I don't want to keep utilizing my personal credit. I need to learn how to, have the business establish credit in its name. So in May, I'm going to be doing a free masterclass breaking down, how to establish business funding solely in the business name. Solely in the business EIN, not using your social, how to win business grants. So if you're interested in any of learning how to fund your business with business grants or for business credit, type in money in the chat and the link will be sent to you to get on the waiting list for that class in May. So when it comes to business funding, and I'm talking about business funding that is solely on the business EIN. You are not going to use your social, okay? I want you to think about no matter how smart a kindergartner is, they may be able to skip to first grade, right? At the max, they can skip to second grade, but they can't go from kindergarten to 12th grade. I don't care how smart they are, how many ABCs they know. There is no way that you can go from kindergarten to 12th grade. You're going to have to kind of go through some steps. You got to go through elementary school. Then let me get some light. You got to go through elementary school. Then you got to go through middle school or junior high, depending on, what area you were in. And then you got to go to high school, right? So there's no way for us to go from kindergarten to 12th grade. Same with business credit. We can't just open our LLC and then run to the bank to get money. Well, why? Well, your LLC doesn't have any credit established. So just like on your personal side, in order for you to establish credit, you have to do what? You have to actually go and get credit. You have to go and apply and get credit cards. You have to go apply and get things in your name to start establishing credit. Well, the same works for your business. So, the second you get your LLC, you're going to see all these things, get 50 grand in funding with your LLC or get a no-doc loan. Well, all of those things, those are true, but they are all piggybacking off of your personal credit. Okay. So if you are trying to establish business credit, we got to first get credit in our business. So if you have an LLC, if you have a corporation, we got to now go and get credit. So the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we have our business form correctly. We don't want to have any home addresses on our LLC paperwork. It's not mandatory, but it will be in your best interest if you didn't have a high risk industry name in your LLC name. So banks consider certain industries high risk if there is a high probability of either bankruptcy or if there's a high probability of having a lot of chargebacks. Okay. So businesses or industries like credit repair, tax preparation, car dealerships, construction, real estate, transportation or trucking. Those kinds of industries are kind of, banks don't really like to either give them funding or they're not going to give them the maximum funding, right? So when you're forming your LLC, it's kind of good to not have a high risk industry in your LLC name if you are trying to get the max funding. So the first thing we got to have is a properly structured LLC. After we get our LLC, we're going to get our EIN number or our employer identification number. That's going to be the tax ID for the business. Once we have our LLC and our EIN, we now have to get a number called our DUNS number or our Dun & Bradstreet number. Now, like your EIN, this number is free. Your DUNS number or your Dun & Bradstreet number is going to be the number that most of the business credit applications are going to ask for. So when we're talking about business credit, there's going to be 3 different business credit bureaus. There's going to be the Dun & Bradstreet. That's going to be the largest business credit bureau. Then you're going to have Small Business Equifax and then Small Business Experian. So to be able to see what your score is on those credit bureaus, you want to have a nav.com account. nav.com. So nav.com is going to work kind of like Credit Karma, where you'll be able to see, well, what is your Paydex score for Dun & Bradstreet? Your Paydex score is going to be the business term for your FICO score, okay? So when you're talking about business credit, there are 5 different business credit bureaus, but the largest business credit bureau is going to be Dun & Bradstreet, okay? So you got to have your DUNS number. You're going to want to start establishing business credit, and we're looking to get our Paydex score in 80. Paydex score is going to be the same as your FICO score, but for business credit, okay? So we got to have a properly structured LLC. We got to have a Dun & Bradstreet number. And then now our goal is to develop a Paydex score. Well, like I said, business credit is like the school system. There are steps or tiers or a process that we have to go through to be able to establish business credit. Now, if you are 18 and you graduate high school and you have no credit, can you run to Mercedes-Benz and go finance a $100,000 car? No. Well, why not? Because you don't have any credit. Mercedes doesn't know, are you going to pay back the loan? What is your payment history? Your credit report is just really saying, hey, this is how a person pays their bills. Are you liking how they pay their bills and you want to give them money? Or are you not liking how they pay their bills, so you're going to deny them the money or deny them the credit? Okay, so when you first form your LLC, there's no need to run to the bank. Okay, there is no need to run to the bank because we're not going to be able to get any financing if you're trying to go solely on the EIN. So now we have to go through a process of establishing business credit. Okay, so what do? Number 1, we need to get some trade lines. We need to get some accounts. We need to get something that's going to be reporting to the business credit bureaus. Now, the biggest misconception are when people have a business credit card, but they use their personal credit or they had to put their social on the application, right? So just because the card has your business name on it, it doesn't mean that you're establishing business credit. You can only establish business credit if you aren't a part of it. So you didn't use your social for anything. You were approved this trade line. You were approved this account just with your business EIN. So if you haven't filled any applications out with just your business EIN, no matter how many Chase or American Express credit cards you have that got the business name on it, they are not establishing business credit. Okay? So here is a brief synopsis on how we establish business credit. Once you get your LLC, EIN, DUNS, or Dun & Bradstreet number, and both of those numbers are free, we're going to then start to apply for trade lines or accounts, okay? So a trade line or an account is going to be where you go and you purchase something from a vendor. They're going to give you 30 days to pay it. And then if you pay it on time or early, that vendor is going to report that payment to the business credit bureaus so that your business gets credit for that. Besides, getting credit cards in a business name, but using your personal social to get the card, another misconception is that every vendor for businesses reports to the Business Credit Bureau. So it's so hard to establish business credit because a lot of the places that businesses normally go do not report to the Business Credit Bureau. Okay, so when we establish business credit, we have to go get trade lines. We need to go get accounts. You may have heard of them as net 30s. We need to go to vendors, businesses that will extend a line of credit to our brand new business that has no credit. And then once we make that payment, we need that vendor to then report that we paid it on time or late to the Business Credit Bureau or to Dun & Bradstreet, okay? That's what we need to start the business credit process. So there are a lot of business credit vendors, but there are requirements to be able to get accounts with the different vendors. So before we can run and apply for the credit card account, before we can run and apply to get a vehicle financing, before we can go run and apply to get a line of credit, all of those vendors want proof that you have paid other people off first. Okay, so a line of credit, vehicle financing, that's going to be high school, right? A credit card, that's going to be junior high school. But we can't get to junior high school or high school without finishing elementary school, correct? So how you establish business credit first is getting accounts to report to Dun & Bradstreet or one of your business credit bureaus, okay? Dun & Bradstreet, Small Business Experience, Small Business Equifax, those will be the three biggest one out of the five, okay? So there are only certain vendors, though, that will give you credit with you not having any credit history. So you may have heard of you may have heard of a phrase, a net 30. You may have heard of the term a tier 1 vendor. You may have heard of a term, a trade line. Okay, all those things are the same thing. We want a vendor who's going to give our brand new LLC that has no credit history a chance to establish business credit. So you're going to go and you're going to contact these vendors. Well, here's the hard part about establishing business credit. To get in, to get these tier 1 or net 30 accounts to report, we don't really care what they're selling. It's nothing that's going to be fun, right? You may have heard of companies like Quill that sells office supplies. You may have heard of companies like Granger. They sell like janitorial supplies. You may have heard of Shirtsy. They sell like t-shirts, right? But none of that's going to move you, right? Like, do I need this? Well, no, you don't need it, but This is like the prerequisite to even be able to start establishing business credit. So a lot of people get discouraged. Like, I don't want to go through this process. How do I just get to the money? Well, we can't get to high school without completing elementary, middle school, and then high school. Okay, so we got to go through the process of buying toilet paper, of buying paper and pens, of buying paper towels, of buying things that we really don't want to start establishing a paydex score, okay, or a business FICO score. It's a process. So look and buy things that maybe if I don't go to Sam's Club, for a month, I can go ahead and get these supplies. So we want to be able to use these accounts to start establishing our business credit. So I'm going to order toilet paper and paper towels from Granger, right? And then in business credit, unlike personal credit, they really want early payments. Personal credit likes on-time payments. Business credit prefers early payments. So we're going to order some paper towels. We're going to order some pens. We're going to order whatever. And then when we pay that invoice off, they are then going to report to the Business Credit Bureau or to Dun & Bradstreet, hey, Joy paid this bill. And as soon as you start getting vendors to report saying, hey, Joy paid this bill on time, it's going to then establish a paydex score or a business FICO score. Okay. So first step, our elementary school is going to the net 30 accounts, getting trade lines, going to the boring vendors, buying things that you don't need so that you can start establishing a paydex score or a business credit score. You have to do this, okay? There's no running around it if you're trying to establish business credit solely in the EIN. Now, if you want to use your social, you want to, expedite the process, you can. But if you're not trying to use your social, this is the process, okay? So if you are interested in joining my free masterclass, where I'm going to be breaking down how to establish business credit solely in the business EIN, how to win business grants, and then, of course, how to properly structure your business, type in money in the chat to get the link to the waiting list to be able to take my free masterclass on getting money in May. So once we get the tier 1 or the net 30 or the baby vendors that are going to help us get a paydex score, we can then go to junior high or tier 2. Now it gets a little better. Every tier, every step gets a little better. Okay. So tier 2 is going to be your store credit cards, a credit card that you can use at a store. So that's going to be Homes, Lowe's, Home Depot, Office Depot, Staples, Best Buy. A store that will have a credit card. Your gas or your fleet cards, right? Chevron, BP. So once you get a paydex score from getting those net 30 or those tier 1 accounts reporting to your business credit reports, now tier 2 will approve you. Oh, let me see. Okay, you are paying your net 30 or your tier 1 accounts on time. Great. Here's your Staples card. Here's your Office Max card. Here's your Home Depot card. Here's your gas card, right? That's step 2. Well, you ain't talking about no money. You ain't talking about nothing fun. I'm not. You're right. I'm not. You can't get to the money. You can't get to the real credit cards. You can't get to the bank until we get the gas card and the boring office supply card. We gotta do that. So once we get to tier 2, now we are going to, once again, buy office supplies, buy stuff from Home Depot, fix your house up, fix your office up. We're going to get gas, right? Nothing fun, nothing sexy, nothing thrilling, But once you start getting those accounts to report to your business credit bureaus, your Dun & Bradstreet, your Equifax, your Experian, well, once we get those reporting, now we have Tier 1 or Net 30 accounts, and we have our Tier 2 accounts reporting. Okay? Well, now that we get those accounts reporting, guess who will now entertain us? High school or Tier 3. Okay? So, the high school cards, the Tier 3 cards, that is going to be the cash credit cards, right? That's going to be your American Express, your Chase, your Capital One, a credit card that you can use at any store, or a credit card that you can actually go and get cash off of. Well, now, now it's getting sexy. Now it's getting good. Now it's like, okay, I can do this. So once we get our cash credit cards, that's when we're able to now, really be able to use credit cards to help fund our business. So we always hear business funding. If you're talking about getting business funding, and that can be either buying office supplies that you can, pay in 30 days, or if you're talking about getting a credit card to use at a store, so Sam's Club, Costco, Apple, Best Buy, Home Depot, that can help your business. Or if getting a cash credit card, if that can help your business, well, then that's what people refer to as business funding. And all we need is going to be our LLC. We don't need to have any kind of revenue. You don't have to provide any kind of bank statements. We're not having to provide any kind of financials, no P&L statement, and no tax, none of that to get to that level. Okay, so if that's business funding, if you can build your business or pay for some inventory or knock off something with credit cards, then this is working for you. But if you're like, well, no, girl, business funding, I need some money, right? I need to walk into the bank and I want some hard, cold cash. Well, how I did my analogy with elementary school, middle school, and high school, well, if you want to actually walk into the bank to get money, if you want to actually walk into the bank and get some kind of vehicle financing, well, that's going to be Tier 4 or college. Okay, so for us to be able to walk into the bank, number one, they're going to look to make sure that we've been paying on time in our cash credit cards. They're going to look to make sure we've been paying on time with our store credit cards. And they're going to look to make sure we were paying our time with our little Net 30 account. So we got to have all of these three to get to the bank. But besides going through this three-step process, to get money from the bank, you're going to have revenue. The business is going to have to be generating money that can sustain paying whatever would be the note on the loan, whatever would be the note on the line of credit, whatever would be the note on the vehicle financing. Okay, so if you're trying to form your LLC and get to the bank to get some hardcore cash and you don't have any revenue, or if your business is pre-revenue, or if maybe we're making a couple $100 or a couple $1,000, we're not going to be able to get a line of credit. Okay, so I don't sell wolf tickets, right? Get $250 in 90 days. Well, baby, I don't sell wolf tickets. I don't sell smoke. Okay, you're not going to get to the bank and get $250 in 90 days if your business EIN does not have a business credit report, doesn't have business credit tied to it. Okay, if you're not trying to use your personal credit. Now, is there a way to expedite all of this? There is. There are different avenues of being able to get trade lines to report to your business credit report, but you're going to have to go through this process still. And then your business is going to have revenue. Okay. So that is the process. So you're like, ooh, girl, that's not what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear the second I got my LLC paperwork, I was going to run to the bank and get $1 million. But baby, I don't sell the wolf ticket. I want to keep it real so that when you are working your business, when you're trying to establish business credit, you understand the process. But let me say this. Once you understand the process, now we can maximize this by doing this on multiple LLCs, right? So there's ways to now, once you get one LLC or one corporation through this process, now you know the process. So by duplicating the process, you're now going to be able to double your borrowing power. So if we're able to run our business off of liquidating some credit cards, or if it's going to benefit our business to be able to buy some inventory, and be able to pay it off in 30 days, well, then we can at least get something, we can at least make something shake for our business without having to use our own money or without having to, continuously, utilize our own personal credit, which is going to slowly but surely, lower our credit score. Okay. So if anything of what I'm saying is like, oh girl, this kind of makes sense, or I never heard it like that, then you want to drop money in the chat. Okay. I am doing a free masterclass for Money May. I'm going to do a free masterclass on number 1, how to properly structure your business for funding and asset protection, how to win business grants, and then how to establish business credit that is solely in the business EIN, how to get business funding that's solely in the business EIN, not having to use your personal social. Okay. So Money May is around the corner. I was down for about 2 weeks with the flu, so I'm a little behind. My team's a little behind because I have to get them the information on, getting the sales page together. So I'm trying to be proactive. So I am getting a waiting list. If you comment money in the chat, a link is going to be sent to your DM as to how to get on the waiting list. Once you're on that waiting list, once my team gets that sales page together, we're going to be emailing it out so you can register for the free masterclass. Okay. I'm going over basically how to get funding using other people's money, business grants, and business credit without having to use your social. Because I know y'all tired of, all these webinars, all these courses. Get 50 grand in 30 days, get that. Then once you buy the course, once you get the webinar, once you get the ebook, you got to use your social, right? Well, if you're buying a house or you're trying to buy a house, you can't use your social right now, right? If you already have an established business, 9 out of 10 times or 10 out of 10 times, you've already utilized your credit. You've already maxed yourself out just getting the business open and running, right? Or baby, you may say, girl, I'm out of order right now. I am working on myself. I'm a work in progress. Right now, my personal credit isn't ready. So I wanted to do something different, but I'm not selling a wolf ticket, okay? I'm not saying you're going to get 200 grand in an hour, right? You're not. So I don't want you to sign up for my class and you be like, well, you said, I don't do all that, right? I'm not dangling no carrots. I'm not going to give you a hook. I'm going to tell you now, you are not going to get no money in 24 hours when you take my masterclass. You're not, right? But you will be able to learn the process of how to establish business credit so you can get the money. It's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be in 30 days. It's not, I'm not going to do that, right? I keep it real. But once you learn the play, see, it took me years. It took me a whole bunch of mistakes. It took me losing a lot of money to learn all what I've learned with being in business for 20 years. Auntie's old, right? So it's kind of like once you understand the play and how the game is played, I feel like that just makes people more empowered and just understand how to maneuver in this game of business, right? So if you have any inactive LLCs, you're going to want to go on ahead and reactivate those. If you've been waiting to form an LLC, go on ahead and start forming it, because you will be able to get credit card. You will be able to get some credit on the business. So the more LLCs or the more corporations you have, the more that you're going to be able to scale the plays that I'm going to go over in my free masterclass. Okay, so for all of those who are tired of, signing up for all these webinars, taking all these courses, and they all end up in, you got to use your credit. So because you got to use your credit, now let's fix your credit. We ain't going to do all that. We're going to learn how to have our business stand on our own, right? How to have your business stand on its own 2 feet. We don't need you. We're going to make the business stand on its own 2 feet. So if any of this is interesting to you, type in money in the chat for the link to get on my waiting list for my free masterclass on how to use other people's money, how to get business funding without using your social, how to structure your business, how to win business grants, and how to establish business credit that is solely in the business EIN, not using your social. Okay? So I will post this live. If you came on late, I'll post this so you can kind of hear the breakdown, but I'll be going through the breakdown in more detail, kind of giving you, different vendors that you can use so that you will be equipped to know how to run the play. And then once you understand the game, you'll be able to move and shake and move, make something shake, whatever you want to say. But now you understand how to leverage your LLCs, how to leverage your corporations, how to, although you won't be at the bank if you have an LLC that has no revenue, you may not be able to get hardcore cash from the bank. But if you got you 50 grand worth of credit cards and you liquidated the credit cards, it's the same thing, right? So I'm going to teach you how to get through the different stages. And then we're going to go over like little tips and tricks, how to maximize those so that you will be able to get capital that's not linked to your social, right? That's not based on your credit. That is not needing financials, so that you can start or grow your business. I am going to talk about shelf corporations, right? Like, there's no need to go spend $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 for a shelf corporation or a shell corporation. That's not going to get you any money, right? So to get money from the bank, you have to have an established business, you have to have revenue, and you have to have business credit established in the business EIN. Now, I'm not a hater on anyone, right? But I hear all the time, buy a shelf, I'm about to buy a shelf corporate, I'm about to buy this. Why? When you buy an aged corporation, they're only selling you the LLC or the corporation. They're not selling you the EIN, because an EIN is based on someone's social. Someone's responsible for that EIN. No one about to just give you an EIN with link to their name and social. So if you don't have the social, well, then you definitely don't have the Dun & Bradstreet number that's linked to the corporation, right? Well, if you don't have the Dun & Bradstreet number that's linked to the corporation, you don't have any business credit. So you go and you spend $5,000, $8,000 to go get you an aged corporation. You're going to walk into the bank with a 5-year-old LLC, and when they pull your EIN, when they ask for your DUNS number, there's no business credit established to it, right? Now, once again, I'm not hating on nobody. I don't knock no one's hustle, but I just keep it real on my page. An aged corporation Walking into the bank with an aged corporation with no business credit established, with no Dun & Bradstreet, with no EIN, because all they're going to give you is the they're going to be the articles of organization or the articles of formation or articles of incorporation. Walking into the bank with an aged corporation, and that's it, is like taking your 80-year-old grandma who doesn't have any credit, who believe in paying cash all her life. So she don't have nothing. She didn't even have a cell phone bill in her name. So when you walk your 80-year-old grandma to the bank, I got me an old lady walking to the, okay, what's the first thing that the banker is going to say? What is your social? What is the first thing that they're going to do to try to prove? They're going to run your credit. Well, if your 80-year-old grandma don't have no credit, walking her into the bank isn't going to get you any money. Walking into the bank with an aged corporation, with a shelf corporation, isn't going to get you any money if that's all you have. Okay, so in my Money May course, I am going to break down what you need to establish business credit, what you really need to get the money. Okay, real. It's going to be a real class, right? So before you go buy that shelf corporation, before you go do all that, make sure you understand what you're buying. Now, can you buy a shelf corporation? You can. But you should be buying a shelf corporation that already has trade lines on it, that already has business credit established. If you're just buying an aged LLC that doesn't have any trade lines reporting to its business credit, you are wasting your money. Okay, so I'm not knocking anyone's hustle, or I'm not knocking any plays. I just want you to understand, if that's the play that you want to run, make sure that you're buying the right thing. Make sure that I'm buying an aged corporation with the EIN and the Dun & Bradstreet number, and there's trade lines reporting to that there's trade lines reporting on the business credit report. Have a nav.com account and pull the business credit report. How you pull your personal report, you can pull the business report. Don't just give someone your money and just think they're gonna be honest. Have them produce the business credit report. Pull it up and see what trade lines are reporting. If I'm trying to get capital and I need to walk into the bank, I don't need no credit card money. I got to have some real hardcore cash to go open my second location or do whatever that it is that you're trying to do. Well, yes, you can buy an aged corporation, but make sure that you're buying it with the trade lines that are already reporting on the Business Credit Bureau with the revenue, so that you can go and get the funding. So a lot of times people will hear shelf corporation and they think it's one thing, or if I buy this aged corp, I'm guaranteed to be able to walk into the bank and get no. A bank, if you walk in that bank, you need to have an LLC. 9 to 10 times, they're going to want it to be at least a year old. You're going to need tax returns. You're going to need bank statements. And you're going to need an established business credit, a payday score of 80 or more. If you personally were going to walk into the bank to get a car, what do you need? A certain kind of credit score, proof of income, and you got to be a certain age, right? You got to be 18 or older. So just like whatever you would need to walk into the bank, your business needs that to walk into the bank. Okay, so you need to understand all the moving parts, because if you listen to person A's video and then person B's video, then person C's video, they may be saying, I'm not knocking on, they may be saying the correct thing. You just don't understand all of the moving parts that are needed. Okay, so can you get an LLC and get funding within 30 days? Yes, you can. Well, the tagline is, but they're going to use your personal credit score, and you got to have a credit score of a 680 or above. If you don't have a credit score of 680 and above, or if you don't want to use your personal credit, then no, you can't get 50 grand of funding in 30 days with the LLC. Get $250 in 2 years. Yes, you can, but you can't do it with a brand new LLC. You got to have, there are things that you got to do to to get all these things. Okay. So I'm not big on the taglines. I'm not big on the, saying a real good juicy title to, get you in. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you what it really is so that you understand how to set your business up to run the play. Just because you can't run the play today doesn't mean that you can't run the play in 6 months. It doesn't mean that you can't run the play in a year. But I want to keep it real with you so you don't, go form an LLC because you saw someone's reel that said that you can get 50 grand, a no doc loan, in 30 days. You go and form the LLC, but then when you take the class, you find out, oh, I got to use your social, and you just file a bankruptcy. So it's like, I just want you to understand like what it really is. I shoot straight. I'm transparent. I'm just going to keep it to you real, right? So if you're picking up anything I'm putting down, if you're like, I really want to understand the correct way of doing things, what do I really need? Type in money in the chat and a link will be sent to you so that you can take my free masterclass on how to establish business credit, how to use other people's money, how to how do you really do it without having to use your social. Okay, so my free masterclass will be in May for Money May. Type in money in the chat and you'll be sent a link to get on the waiting list. My team is still developing the sales page because I was out for 2 weeks and I couldn't get them all the content. So as soon as I get that registration page to be able to have you sign up for the webinar, once you fill on the waiting list, then be looking for an email. So, check your junk folder for an email after you sign on the waiting list for next week. I'll be sending out the emails to get everyone actually signed up for the webinar. Okay. The platform I use to automatically send the DM is going to be ManyChat, ManyChat. If your page is private, don't just comment. You'll have to DM me because it won't automatically send you the link if your page is private. Okay. If you are just joining, hey y'all, I will post this live. I kind of did like a quick little breakdown of establishing business credit so you can kind of understand you can kind of get a gist of what we're going to be learning in our Money May Masterclass as to how to actually get funding solely in the business EIN. Okay? Everyone have a great night, and I will, of course, see you at the bank.